So the first card here is Miloic. I didn't get to see what this did in my last video covering these cards, and all these translations are definitely accurate, which is nice. We don't need a second guess. So it has the ability Healing Ripples once during your turn. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may heal 60 damage from one of your water Pokemon. Now this is awesome. Imagine comboing this with Lily. You're going to heal 120 damage when you evolve this, and if you evolve two in the same turn, you can heal potentially 180. I don't know why you would need to, but you could. I think they're introducing this into the game in preparation for Mega Gyarados. Imagine just being able to keep Mega Gyarados alive for the whole entire match. That seems really crazy. And we did get another water supporter, which I'm going to talk about in a second. You could also play this with Wigglytuff, where Wigglytuff is healing 20. It could be good Kingdra support because, you know, Lily works on Kingdra as well as Miloic. But I think it's going to work best with Primarina because it already has a lot of healing potential and it's just a pretty decent Pokemon. I think it was just missing some sustain and some water ramping, which we're also receiving in this set. I mean, imagine healing for 120 damage plus this extra 20. So you're going to heal for 200 damage in one turn potentially. And the water ramper I'm talking about is our next card here. That is Mantike. It has the move Splashy Toss. Take a water energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your benched basic Pokemon. So that means turn one, you're able to start charging any water Pokemon on your bench. This is what they needed. Like I said in my last video, the Pokemon Company remembered water is a type. It deserves some support too. Now we have a lot of very expensive water Pokemon. Of course, this might bring Gyarados EX back a little bit. It's definitely going to help Mega Gyarados when it releases. It also helps Palkia a bit. You're going to be able to charge the 4 energy much quicker. I mean, Primarina, say you go first, you put an energy on it, then you evolve the next turn. It's going to do 80 damage on your second turn with its Hydro Pump and then 100 damage the next turn. So it really helps us out. I think this is going to benefit the most. And Kingdra, on your second turn, you're going to be able to use Stormy Prison and trap him in the active zone. So Mantike is just a huge card overall. Anytime we get any type of ramper, especially the baby ones that can go in the first turn, that's very important. And next up we have Ente EX. It has the ability Legendary Pulse. The legendary trio all have this ability. At the end of your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, draw a card. So say, you know, you go first, you put it in your active zone because your only Pokemon in your hand and the rest of your hand is a brick. You're going to end your turn and you're just going to get to draw a free card. So drawing a card on your first turn is hilarious and actually very strong. Now its attack is, if this Pokemon has at least 2 extra fire energy attached, it does 60 more damage. So 4 energy for 120 is not great. And if you go first and use a baby to charge it up, that means you're not going to get its draw effect off. Yeah, so you don't get its benefit if you're charging it on the bench, which is kind of a bummer. I feel like this ability should be, if it's on the bench, you draw a card. Maybe that would be too strong, honestly, because then you could just throw it in any deck and they just didn't want it to be a splash card. But these kind of seem like they're at odds with each other, because realistically the only way you keep this live and get it to 4 energy is by ramping it when it's on the bench, and then you don't get its ability off. Maybe that's not too big of a deal when you do start attacking with it. Getting that extra draw each turn is probably going to be super nice. Drawing is very important in this game. Next up we got Suicun. It knows the ability Legendary Pulse, which is the same as the last one we just talked about. And it has the attack Crystal Waltz. Now this is different from the Korean version, the Korean translation that I went over earlier in my last video. It says this attack does 20 damage for each bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, and that's what makes it better. It has more upside because your opponent's going to be a little bit afraid to play things on their bench because, you know, that'll boost this attack. Max, it does 2 energy, 120 damage. I think that damage output is pretty solid, and at the same time that it's preventing them from placing things on their bench and doing a bunch of damage for 2 energy, you're also going to draw a card each turn that it's in the active spot, which is a really nice addition to this card. I'm not sold on it on any of these. They only have 140 HP, but we've seen Espeon perform very well with 140 HP too. But I think the reason that performs so well is because you can play it with Sylveon to draw, and that's able to heal itself with its own ability, and it has EV Bag to also heal and do more damage. So I'm really thinking that this legendary trio needs some support cards for them to be viable. Right now, what I'm looking at, I really like the draw effect. I'm not sold on the attacks. They don't really do as much as a lot of EX cards we've received recently for the same cost, so I'm not convinced there. I think they do need some kind of support, but I could be wrong. Maybe the drawing a card each turn is actually really busted. Next up we got Raichu EX. He has the same ability, and his move, he knows his attack is Voltic Bolt. 60 damage for 2 energy, and it does 10 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So I actually really like him, and I think he's great because he's an electric type, and you can attack on your second turn with, if you have Zeraora on the bench, and switch works with him too. So you start with him in the active zone, you get to draw a card. The next turn you put an energy on him, and then you switch, and then you can attack, and you can also hit the bench. And hitting the bench is very important. You're obviously going to run Cyrus with him, probably 2 copies of Cyrus, 2 Raikus, and then Zeraora and Elemental Switch, and then you're just going to be able to manipulate their bench while also drawing a ton of cards from your deck at the same time. Maybe even play the Magnezone line, because you're going to be able to draw into it very easily because of its legendary pulse ability. So I think Raikou has a ton of potential, a ton of upside, and he's my favorite one so far that I'm seeing. I think I would probably try to play him with Luxray too, because Luxray is just going to get better and better when Megas release, because Megas are going to try to retreat to the bench, and Luxray is just going to be able to snipe them for 120 damage. And as soon as a Mega dies, you win the game, because Megas give up 3 points. So Luxray is going to get better too. We have Volkner, which brings back 2 lightning energy, so you can start with Raikou, you can manipulate their bench, damage them, and then Volkner back that energy onto Luxray, and then finish with him. I just made a Luxray video, so this is why I'm talking about it again, but there's a lot of options for really good electric types, and I think Raikou's going to fit in really well with them. Next up, we have Ldios. I think he pairs with Ldios, which I'm going to go over in a second, but it has attack crossing flights. It does 40 damage if Ldios is on the bench for 1 energy, which is fine. And then Ldios has the ability Fantastical Floating. If you have Ldios in play, this Pokemon has no retreat cost. Cool. I like that. It has the attack Luster Purge, 120 damage for 3 energy. That's not too expensive for 120. And it's pretty easy to generate psychic energy with Gardevoir, but there is no psychic ramper yet in terms of baby Pokemon, so I'm not sold on this either. Next up, we have Slowking. It knows attack Litter. It also has 130 damage. It's a stage 1, which is really nice. Its retreat cost is kind of heavy, but it says discard up to 2 Pokemon tool cards from your hand. This attack does 50 for each card you discarded this way. So you discard 2, it's going to do 100 damage for 1 energy. That's crazy. You can get this going, say you go first, and then you evolve the next turn, you're doing 100 damage already for only 1 energy, and then you can just build whatever else you want on your bench. Now, this pairs really well with Traveling Merchant. This says look at the top 4 cards of your deck, put all Pokemon tools you find there into your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. So if you top deck 3 cards, you're going to be able to add 3 to your hand. You could get a ton of value if you stack your deck with Pokemon tools. This could be really, really good. Just imagine adding 2 tools to your hand based off this 1 card. I feel like that's kind of busted with Skarmory and with Slowking. Someone out there really likes Slowking on the dev team, and they gave him a support card that seems specifically designed to allow him to do 100 damage on your second turn. That's kind of crazy. Let me know what you guys think of Slowking. We have a couple more cards to go over. This is a promo Zera Orc, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a normal version of him too in the set. It has the ability Elusive Trickery. I feel like I pronounced his name wrong. I'm sorry. It says if your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from this Pokemon's attacks during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. Wow. Wait, if it comes out and finishes off a Pokemon, it's in the clear for the next turn. They can't follow up. You survive for 1 turn. I actually think this is a really, really good ability. I like this a ton. Yeah, you keep this on the bench until something gets low. Maybe you poison them, do whatever. It is a dark type. It can pair with Darkrai too. And then during the next turn, they can't damage him, and he's free to get a attack off on your opponent's Pokemon before they can attack him. So that's beautiful. I kind of like that. Next up, we have Miltank, Rolling Frenzy. Until this Pokemon leaves the active spot, this Pokemon's Rolling Frenzy attack does plus 30 damage. This effect stacks. This is our first stacking effect that we're getting in Pokemon Pocket. Usually when you have an attack that says, oh, it does plus 30 every time you use it, it does not stack. It only adds like the 30 on. It would only do 40. But if you start with this in your active zone, say you're going second, you're going to be able to attack once for free. And then the next turn, you'll be able to attack for 40, the next turn 70, and then next turn 100. And you're going to do all that damage just for 1 energy cost. And it has 110 HP, which is not that bad. Plus, it's colorless, so it's an Ilima target too. So whenever it does get low, feel free to just Ilima it away. And that way you just don't lose a point and you send something else out. Miltank meta, maybe? No, I don't know if it's meta, but this is fun. I definitely need to use this. This is super spicy. Wow. Okay, I love this card. So those are all the cards I wanted to go over today. If you guys have not yet, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.